Hello everybody. Today I would like to tell you a 10 short conversation between two people, the man and the woman. Number one, the woman said to the man who had reviewed his cover letter and resume and had decided that he was good candidate for a position in their firm, and she wanted to know if the man could come by for an interview that Friday. The man was surprised by that, and he said he was free all day long, and he wanted to know what time he should come in and approximately how long it would take. The woman replied to him the preliminary interview would be at 10 in the morning, and she commented it usually took 20 minutes, and after that he may be called back for a final interview, and that would be on Monday. The man agreed with her, and he said he would be seeing her Friday morning. From the bakery down the street was going to be closing down soon. The man agreed with her, and he said the shop was owned and operated by an elderly married couple, and then it would probably become a coffee shop chain. The woman replied to him it was a shame that it was so hard for small family-owned businesses to stay profitable those days, and she wished there had been something they could do. The man thought they could stage a fundraiser for the bakery, and they could keep it open. Number three, the man got the woman's attention, and he said he could prescribe her daughter any medication, and he needed to know how long her daughter had been showing symptoms. The woman replied to him her daughter had started coughing a lot the day before morning, and by the afternoon she had running a high fever, and she wanted to know if the man thought it was serious. The man replied to her he thought her daughter would be fine, and he commented colds were common among children, especially at that time of year, and he said it would he would give her some medicine to solve the cough, and he wanted to know if her daughter was allergized. The woman disagreed with him, and she said at least not that he was aware of. Number four, the man said good morning. The woman said good morning to the man, and she said if the man had time to talk about the design for the new logo that she had submitted the week after. The man was sorry about that. However, he hadn't got any time right then, and because these were an important meeting, he had to be at in a few minutes, and it would take all morning. The woman wanted to know the man's opinion of her design. It had been interesting or needed to make any changes. The man suggested stopping by his office before she went home that evening, and they could talk about it then. Number five, The man said to the woman he was going to arrange a meeting to discuss the new office recycling policy. And the woman replied to him she hadn't heard anything about it, and she wanted to know if they didn't already recycle. And the man agreed with her. However, they were going through far too much copy paper, and he was afraid it was being wasted. And he commented a number of people there were also neglecting to put used paper in the recycle bins. The woman agreed with him, and she said if they told them to be more aware of the problem, she thought they would start conserving more paper. Number 6. The man said to the woman she had asked him to drop off those legal files at the courthouse that afternoon. However, he had never been there before, and he wanted to know if the woman know the best way to get there. The woman replied to him if he drove. It was pretty easy to find, although traffic was potentially bad at that time of day. The downtown area was crowded, and a lot of people were out on their lunch breaks. The man thought he could take the subway or a bus, and he wanted to know if the public transportation would get him there quickly. The woman disagreed with him, and she gave him $20, and she suggested catching a cab. And number 7, the woman said hello to the man, and she introduced about Miranda Baylor from Oak Hill High School, and she said his son Peter was in her English class, and she was calling because she would like to meet with him sometime and talk about his academic performance. And the man replied to her he had to know there had been a problem, and he wanted to know if his son was doing poorly. And the woman disagreed with him, and she said his son was doing quite well, and she thought his son might be eligible to enter an advanced program for gifted students. Before she recommended him, she hid approval from his parents. The man agreed with her, and he said he would let his wife know that she called, and they would call her back to schedule an appointment. Number 8. The man said to the woman he wanted to buy a space heater for the bedroom, and it would keep them warm in winter and reduce their power bills. The woman disagreed with him because she was worried it would make the air too dry. The man suggested getting a new model, and they were making them much smaller those days, and they had already got the humidifier. The woman supposed it was worth a try, and she hoped they were right. He was right about the power bill, and she commented they had been paying far too much ever since the weather became cold. The last conversation, the man got the woman's attention, and he wanted to know if the woman could tell him where to find mustard. The woman replied to him he could find mustard and the rest of the condiments in aisle 5. Buns and bread were in aisle 10. If he were planning his summer cookout, be sure to check out that sale at the butcher's counter. Hamburger patties were on sale. The man wanted to know what about steaks, and because his wife asked him to pick up some steaks for dinner, and he asked if they were sale too. The woman agreed with him, and she said some brands of steak were on sale, and she commented, "You the man could ask which one when he came there."
Hello everyone. Today I would like to tell you 10 short conversations between two people. Number 1. The woman said to the man they had reviewed his cover letter and resume, and had decided that he was a good candidate for a position in their firm, and the woman wanted to know if he could come by for an interview that Friday. The man was surprised by that, and he said he was free all day long, and he wanted to know what time he should come in, and approximately how long it would take. The woman replied that the preliminary interview could be at 10 in the morning, and he commented it took 20 minutes, and after that he might be called back for a final interview, and that could be on Monday. The man agreed with her. He said he could be seeing her Friday morning. Number 2. The woman wanted to confirm that old bakery down the street was going to be closing down soon. The man agreed with her, and he commented the shop was old and operated by an elderly married couple, and then it could be probably become a coffee shop chain. The woman commented it was a shame, and that it was so hard for small family-owned business to stay profitable those days, and the woman wished there had been something they could do. The man thought they could stage a fundraiser for the bakery, and they could keep it open. Number 3. The man got the woman's attention, and he said to her before he could prescribe her daughter and any medication, he needed to know how long she had been showing symptoms. The woman replied that she had started coughing a lot the day before morning, and by the afternoon her daughter had been running a high fever, and she wanted to know if the man think it was serious. The man thought she could be fine, and colds were common among children, especially at that time of year. He said he could give her daughter some medicine to soothe the cough. He wanted to know if her daughter was any allergies. The woman disagreed with him. She said at least not that she was aware of. Number 4. The woman said hello to the man. He said to the man if he had time to talk about the design for the new logo that she had submitted the week after. The man was sorry the woman about that. However, he said he hadn't got any time. Right then. There were an important meeting he had to be at in a few minutes, and it would take all morning. The woman wanted to know his opinion about her design. It was interesting, or it needed to make any changes. The man suggested stopping by his office before she went home that evening. He said they could talk about it then. Number 5. The man said to the woman he was going to arrange a meeting discuss the new office recycling policy. The woman said that she hadn't heard anything about that. She wanted to know if they didn't already recycle. The man agreed with her. However, he said they were going through far too much copy paper, and he thought it was being wasted. He commented a number of people there were also neglecting to put used paper in the recycle bins. The woman agreed with him. He said if they told them to be more aware of the problem, she thought they would start conserving more paper. Number 6. The man got the woman's attention, and he said she had asked him to drop off those legal files at the courthouse that afternoon. However, he had never been there before. He wanted to know if she knew the best way to get there. The woman replied that if he drove, it was pretty easy to find, although traffic was potentially bad at that time of day. The downtown area was cold, and a lot of people were out on their lunch breaks. The man thought he could take the subway or bus, and he wanted to know if public transportation could get him there quickly. The woman agreed with him. She said she gave him $20 and suggested catching a cab. Number 7. The woman said hello to the man. She introduced about Miranda Bailey from Oak Hill High School. She said his son was in her English class. She was calling because she could like to meet with him sometime and talk about his son's academic performance. The man said that he hadn't known there had been a problem. He wanted to know if his son was doing poorly. The woman disagreed with him. He said his son was doing quite well. She thought his son might be eligible to enter an advanced program for a gifted students. Before she recommended him, she needed to approve. She hid approval from his parents. The man agreed with her. He said he would let his wife knew that she had called. and they could call him back to schedule an appointment. Number 8. The man said to the woman he wanted to buy a space heater for the bedroom. It would keep them warm in winter and reduce their power bills. The woman disagreed with him because she was worried it could make the air too dry. The man suggested getting a new model because they were making them much smaller those days, and they had already got the humidifier. The woman supposed it was worth a try. She hoped he were right about the power bill. They had been paying far too much ever since the weather had become cold. Number 9. The man got the woman's attention, and he wanted to know if she could tell him where to find mustard. The woman replied that she could find mustard and the rest of the condiments in aisle 5. Buns and bread were in aisle 10. If she were planning his summer cook count, be sure to check how they are sold at the butcher's counter. Hamburger patties were on sale. The man wanted to know what about the steaks. His wife asked him to pick up some steaks for dinner, and he wanted to know if they were sold too. The woman agreed with him. She said some brands of steak were on sale. He could ask which ones when he got there.
Hello everyone, today I would like to tell you about the short conversations. The conversation 1. The woman said to the man, they had reviewed his cover letter and resume and decide that he were a good candidate for a position in their firm, and she wanted to know he could come by for an interview that Friday. The man was right by that, and he said that he was free all day long, and he wanted to know what time he should come in and how long it would take. The woman replied to him, the preliminary interview could be at 10 in the morning, and it usually took 20 minutes, and she might be called back for a final interview, and that could be on Monday. The man agreed with her, and he commented he would be seeing her Friday morning. The conversation 2. The woman wanted to confirm that old bakery down the street was going to be closing down soon. The man agreed with her, and he commented that shop was old and operated by an elderly married couple, and then it could probably become a coffee shop chain. The woman replied to him it was shame that it was so hard for small family-owned business to stay profitable those days, and she wished there had been something they could do. The man thought they could stage a fundraiser for the bakery, and they could keep it open. The conversation 3, the man got the woman's attention and he said that he could prescribe her daughter any medication and he needed to know how long she had been showing symptoms. The woman replied to him. She had started coughing a lot the morning after, and by the afternoon she had been running a higher fever, and she wanted to know. The man thought it was serious. The man replied to her. He thought she could be fine, and coups were common among children, especially at that time of year, and he could give her some medicine to solve the cough, and he wanted to know her daughter allergies. The woman replied to him she wasn't allergic to anything, and at least not that she was aware of. The conversation 4. The woman said hello to the man, and she said that he had time to talk about the design for the new logo that she has met the week before. The man was sorry about that, and however he hadn't got any time right then. There was an important meeting. He had to be in a few minutes, and it would take all morning. The woman replied to him. She had just wanted to know if the man thought her design was interesting, or if he wanted to her to make any change. The man suggested stopping by his office before she went home that evening, and he said that they could talk about it then. The conversation 5. The man said to the woman he was going to arrange a meeting discuss the new office recycling policy. The woman replied to him he hadn't heard anything about that, and she wanted to know they had already recycled. The man agreed with her. However, they were going through far too much copy paper, and he commented he was afraid it was being wasted. And a number of people there were also neglecting to put used paper in the recycle bins. The woman agreed with him, and she said that if they told them to be more aware of the problem, and she thought they could start consuming more paper. The conversation 6. The man got the woman's attention, and she had asked him to drop off those legal files at the courthouse that afternoon. However, he had never been there before, and he wanted to know she knew the best way to get there. And the woman replied to him if he drive it was pretty easy to find. Although traffic was potentially bad at that time of day, the downtown air was clear, and a lot of people were out on their lunch break. The man thought they could take the subway or bus, and he wanted to know public transportation would get him there quickly. The woman disagreed with him, and she said that there was $20 and just catch a cab. The conversation started. The woman said hello to the man, and she said that was Mary Miranda Taylor from Oak Hill High School, and she said that his son Peter was in her English class, and she was calling because she would like to meet with him sometime and talk about his academic performance. The man replied to her he hadn't know there had been a problem, and he was doing poorly. The woman disagreed with him, and she said that he was doing quite well, and she thought he might be eligible to enter an advanced program with student before she recommended him, and she hit approval from his parents. The man agreed with her, and he commented he could let his wife know that she had called, and they could call her back to schedule an appointment. The conversation 8. The man said to the woman she wanted to buy a space heater for the bedroom, and it could keep them warm in winter and reduce our power bills. The woman disagreed with him, and because she was worried it would make the air too dry. The man disagreed with him. The man suggested getting a new model, and they had making them much smaller those days, and they had already got the humidifier. The woman replied to him. She supposed it was worth a try, and she sure hoped he was right about the power bill, and they had been paying far too much ever since the weather became cold. The last conversation, the man wanted to know she could tell him where to find mustard. The woman replied to him he could find mustard and the rest of the condiment in iOS 5, and based on breed were in iOS 10. And if they were planning her summer cookout, be sure to check out their sale at the purchase counter. Hamburgers, patties were on sale. The woman wanted to know what about sticks, because his wife asked him to pick up some sticks for dinner, and he wanted to know they were sale too. The woman agreed with him, and she said that some brands of sticks were on sale, and he could ask which ones when he got there.
Hello everybody, today I would like to tell you 10 conversations between the man and the woman. The woman said to the man they have reviewed his cover letter and resume, and decided that he was a good candidate for a position in their firm, and she wanted to know if he could come by for an interview that Friday. The man was surprised by that, and he replied to her he was free all day long, and he wanted to know what time he should come in and approximately how long it would take. The woman commented the preliminary interview would be at 10 in the morning. It usually took 20 minutes, and after that he might be called back for a final interview. That would be on Monday. The man agreed with him, and he commented he would be seeing her Friday morning. Conversation number 2. The woman wanted to confirm that our bakery down the street was going to be closing down soon. The man agreed with him, and he commented that shop was over and operated by an elderly married couple. Then it would probably become a coffee shop chain. The woman replied to him it was a shame that it was so hard for small family-owned business to stay profitable those days, and she wished there had been something they could do. The man said the man thought they could stage a fundraiser for the bakery, and they could keep it open. Conversation number 3. The man got the woman's attention, and he could prescribe his daughter any medication. He needed to know how long she has been showing symptoms. The woman replied her daughter had started coughing a lot of the morning before, and by the afternoon her daughter had been running a high fever, and she wanted to know if she thought it were serious. The man thought she would be fine, cause were common among children, especially at that time of year. He would give her some medicine to solve the cough, and he wanted to know if her daughter any allergy. The woman commented her daughter wasn't allergic to anything, at least not that she was aware of. Conversation number 4. The woman said hello to the man, and she said she had come to ask him if he had the time to talk about the design for the new logo that she had submitted the week before. The man was sorry about that. However, he hadn't got any time right then. There was an important meeting he had to be at in a few minutes. It would take all morning. The woman wants to know the opinion of her design had been interesting, and make any change. The man suggested stopping by his office before she went home that evening. They could talk about it then. Conversation number 5. The man said to the woman he was going to arrange a meeting, discuss the new office recycling policy. The woman replied to him she hadn't heard anything about that, and she wanted to know if they didn't already recycle. The man agreed with him. However, they were going too far, too much copy paper. He was afraid it was being wasted. A number of people there were also neglecting to put this paper in the recycle bins. The woman commented that were probably true, and she thought they would start conserving more paper if they tell them to be more aware of the problem. Question number 6. The man said to the woman she asked him to drop off the Lego files of the courthouse that afternoon. However, he had never been there before, and he wanted to know if the woman knew the best way to get there. The woman replied to him it was pretty easy to find if he drove. Although traffic was potentially bad at that time of day, the downtown area was crowded and a lot of people were out on their lunch breaks. The man thought he could take the subway or a bus, and he wants to know public transportation would get him there quickly. The woman disagreed with him, and she gave him $20, and she suggested catching a cab. Conversation number 7. The woman said to the man, and she introduced about Mr. Baylor from Old Hill High School. His son Peter was in her English class, and she was calling because she would like to meet with him sometime and talk about his academic performance. The man said he had now there had been a problem, and he wants to know if his son was doing poorly. The woman disagreed with him, and she said his son was doing quite well, and she thought his son might be eligible to enter an advanced program for gift students. Before she recommended him, she hid approval from his parents. The man replied that was great news. He would let his wife know that she could, and they would call her back to schedule an appointment. Session number 8. The man said to the woman He wanted to buy a spy heater for the bedroom. It would keep them warm in winter and reduce their power bills. The woman disagreed with him because she was worried it would make the air too dry. The man suggested getting a new model because they were making them much smaller those days, and they had already got the humidifier. The woman supposed it were water great, and she hoped he was right about the power bill. And she commented they had been paying far too much ever since the weather had become cold. Conversation. The man got the woman's attention and he wanted to know the woman could tell him where to find mustard. The woman replied to him he could find mustard and the rest of the condiments in else 5. Buns and bread was in else 10. If he was planning his summer cookout, be sure to check out their sale at the puncher's counter. Hamburger patties were on sale. The man wanted to know what about steaks because his wife asked him to pick up some steaks for dinner, and he wanted to know if there were sale too. The woman agreed with him, and she commented some renter the steaks were on sale. He could ask which ones when he got there.